So, okay. All right, I sent you the link.
Okay.
Okay, hello. I have one person watching, I think.
Are we on? We're on already.
Or maybe that's
Nice.
me watching myself. I'm the one person.
Are we on?
Oh, no, zero people watching. Okay, so I'll give myself a like because I'm awesome. Hey guys.
Hi, Jonar.
Hey, Jonah. Hey, Brandon. Let me put on my Bluetooth just to make sure my sound's good. Jonah. Hey, Brandon.
I've got a horrible delay.
You have to cut the sound off. Like you have to mute the video. And just like listen. Like you can't listen and talk at the same time. Because it's about probably like 10 seconds off, I think. Or more. And just like listen.
Oh, okay. I'll get my headphones.
Yeah. Okay, my mic sounds good. And yeah, I think my mic shifted because this mic used to suck. But it sounds pretty awesome, but I won't jinx it. I'll cut my Bluetooth off and maybe play some background music. Or not. Let me see. LOL to me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you have headphones in. That's why I had to get mine. Cause I'm like, oh yeah, I can't talk and listen and do all that at the same time. You'll hear a feedback.
Yeah, a lot of feedback.
Hope this isn't too loud. I'll just move it further away. Put a little background music on. Please don't start barking. So yeah.
Did that work?
I can't even hear the sound. Hold on. Put my Bluetooth back on. I think it should be good. Hold on. Bear with us. Okay, come on. Videos live. All right, let's do a good testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Say something, Des. Let me see if I can mute it. She's not there. She left. I'll re-invite her. Jesus. Hold on, guys.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Okay.
Okay, so I think this sounds good. Just anyone like in the chat, let us know if the sound gets all messed up because I'm not listening to it. Okay. Back to the music.
Let's get some music.
Hope you like my music. Well, I won't put it too loud, just a little background music. Because why not? Background music, music in itself kind of helps a lot anyway. Okay. Put the phone a little ways away. Yeah, okay.
Hey,
all right,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so how's it going? Desiree.
It's going very good, Christina.
So yeah, Digital Intel wanted me to do this chat roulette thing, give it a try. So I decided to invite Des, and we're going to talk about, I don't know, a little bit about everything. So yeah. I'm not much of a host, I guess. You're muted. Hold on. All right, so we're gonna start off like talking a little bit about, I guess, time and how's everyone feeling about time? Like I feel like I know Des was saying like it seemed like it went back to normal, but I feel like it's still like accelerating a bit. I was looking into getting a watch, so I don't have to like look on my phone, so I can kind of gauge it more because I think it fluctuates from day to day. I know that everything's starting to feel a bit blurry as far as like yesterday, which I call it like the yesterdays. I think like Andrew like mentioned something like that. Like I call it the yesterdays because I can't really. You think something happened like a week ago, but it was like yesterday, or you think something happened yesterday, but it was like a month ago. It's just like getting a little crazy. Yeah. Are you still there, Des? She's muted, so I don't know if probably something came up. I will message her. I think it's her mic. Hold on. Oops. Sorry. Don't know if it's our perception or time, literally. Well, time, I messed up. Sorry, hang on. Okay. All right, Des. I don't know if it's our perception or time, literally. Well, I mean, time is a perception, so time is perception. Hold on. Message. All I'm getting is an echo. Do you have the Des, do you have do you have like the chat like muted on your computer? Can you, I'll message her that. Mute the chat. If you guys hear like a lot of like running in the background, that's like my cousin's dog going crazy, just like running back and forth for no reason, chasing something, but I'm not going to acknowledge that. I don't know what she's chasing, but she's playing with someone. Probably my dog now. I can't really see them. Yeah, Des, try muting the chat. And then it might be, I don't think it's the Hangouts. Are you getting an echo from me or you hear yourself? I don't know. Oh, message. Might be me. Hold on. Is the sound good on my end, guys? Oh, sounds great. Okay. Because I know this mic kind of just gets a little iffy sometimes. Do you hear yourself? Or is it... Are you guys hearing me? No, I don't hear you at all. Oh wait, I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
There we go.
Yay!
We got it.
We got it.
That was me. That was all me, you guys.
Okay. All right. So I was answering Brandon. Brandon said, let me turn this down. Is time our perception or is time a literal thing? I think. don't know if it's our perception or time literally. Is time literally speeding up, or is it our perception of it speeding up? And I was going to say time is a perception in its own. So
yeah,
it's just our perception of it. Like, what is time? Nothing but a perception of, time is just the word we use.
Well, and the strange thing is how we measure time, because we used to measure it by the passage of the stars.
Yeah.
And then we changed it to like a fixed unit.
Well,
so,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, it might be perception, like the shape of the Earth might also be like our general belief in it. You know what I'm saying?
Also, okay, like it's just a lot of different theories out there. I mean, we can go with the theory that time itself is just speeding up, and then also maybe it's a part of like an ascension. We feel like time is speeding up because we're ascending. Also, if we're in some type of like, if this is like just a copy of Earth or whatever you want to say about that, they can literally just be speeding up the time, within this whatever this is, And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of different theories, so it can be a combination of things,
Maybe, and at first I thought when it was fast, when I realized it was faster, and I think it was Scott that brought that up, that noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it meant that the Earth was smaller.
Well, the Earth is smaller. Like I did notice, like, well, is it? I don't know, but it felt like it was smaller, just in the sense that the sky felt closer to the ground. So I thought the Earth was shrinking, and that's when I first got affected. Like that, I noticed that. But now it's changing into like, is the sky getting closer to the ground, or is just different layers they're putting up there? I don't know.
And this all goes back to me for like feeling like I'm in a different planet, because the double layer of the cloud, the atmosphere there, and it's like you get one type of cloud on one layer, and they're kind of gray and squishy looking, and then you get like a higher up layer that's more like puffy clouds, but both the layers are closer to the ground.
True. Yeah. So yeah, at first I thought, okay, the Earth is shrinking because it's like I can reach the clouds basically, and I'm short. But now, now I'm like, well, how do I really know? Because it's like sometimes I don't even see the sky for a while. I mean, and then if I do see if it's like no clouds in the sky, how do I know there's like really no clouds in the sky? Because the sky is like no longer like a blue; it's like a grayish, whitish, milky-ish like color. So I don't even know if that's really the sky. It's just, and I know that Scott talked about how they are chemtrailing at night, so that in the daytime, we don't know what we're looking at,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because if the atmosphere is different, I mean, that would kind of explain the different colors on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the green, like sometimes there's green, and sometimes there's like a kind of yellowy, icky yellow brown color that seems to me like that's the nitrogen. But
I get like this reddish. You ever get like this reddish color at night when it looks like the sun is about to rise? It's like the sky starts to turn like a reddish, kind of like you're about to see the sunrise, but it's like midnight.
Yeah.
In the sky, it's not like the sky is not like that midnight blue. It's like a more brighter blue. Like, hey, the sun's about to rise, but no, it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like dawn. Yeah, it looks like it
looks like dawn. Yeah, like it's weird. I took a couple of pictures of that. That's like when I first got affected. That was like last year. I noticed that. And I still, well, I haven't seen it as recently, but yeah, I noticed that. I'm just like, is the sun about to rise? I'm like filming and shit while I'm driving. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of weird stuff. Like, hi Digi.
Hey Digital, Party Puppy. Hi guys.
Yeah, Party Puppy. Last summer, because all the first changes that I noticed were the Earth changes.
Mm-hmm.
The sun and the moon and the sky, and just when I would go outside and work in my yard, and this was last summer, it was like the dirt was different, and just, you know, everything seemed different. The way the air smelled, and I didn't see any logo changes until like maybe 6 months ago. So, and then the Bible changes were probably only 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, when I first got affected, I searched for that. Like, I searched for different changes, and then like, I know people were just. I mean, it's a little like, I don't know. It's hard to. It was just like how everything came out when the Mandela effect first happened for me, and like for a lot of people, because it was just like a lot of people just got on it to that in that same around that same time. It was just like out of nowhere, one day it's just. One day everything was cool. The next day, Mandela effect. We have channels that have like 10,000 subscribers, of like so much information, so many logo changes, all these videos that have already been made. I'm just like, and at the time I didn't think much about it, but now looking back, I'm like, that's how I got a lot of my information. I'm just like looking at these videos. I'm like, oh my God, these, you know, looking at all these changes, and go look at this, go look at that, this change and that change. I'm like, oh my God, it did change. Like, but like one day they weren't there, the next day. Just a shitload of just like videos, articles, people talking about it, Mandela effect, when did Mandela die? It's just like so much shit. I'm just like caught up in it, because like you don't think of, like, I wasn't in that time, I wasn't thinking about like where's all this shit coming from. I was thinking about like this shit really did change, you know? So yeah. It's that kind of how it started for me. So I was like more into like, it became like kind of like a conspiracy thing, kind of like how I would do research into that. I just like kind of lost myself in it. That's all I can think about, the Mandela effect and changes and finding new changes. And then like now I'm seeing this whole new world where I'm like, wait a minute, that changed and that changed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that just happened from one day normal, and the next day like this shit is happening. So I was so distracted into that. I didn't really like even think about what the fuck, that this wasn't even here. Like, how do you have 10,000 subscribers? Like, I'm into conspiracies. I do a lot of research into this. I would have like noticed. I would have seen this channel with 10,000 subscribers. Right? 15,000 subscribers, like a shitload of videos. You've already done like fucking 20 videos on the Mandela effect, and this is the first time hearing about you, you know, and that's when a lot of people were like jumping on it. So that was like the first thing when I became affected. I kind of got into that, and then I got the ear ringing, like a bunch of ear ringing, and then I started to see. I didn't see as much as I see now, but I started to see more of like the sparkles. I started to then feel the time kind of speed a bit. During that time.
Yeah, the time thing is, does anybody else feel like, because I feel like some days it's a lot faster, and then other days it might be slower, and then even like if I'm really enjoying myself, you know, then it feels like it would slow down. But then when like I was at work, it felt like it was speeding up. And I thought that was odd, because that's the opposite, you know, of the way it used to be. Whereas you were at work and you were so bored, it would go so slow. So, I mean, did anybody else notice anything like that? Because, and I still do, you know, like if I'm watching a movie and it's really good, then it feels like to me, feels like it's really slowing down a lot.
I think I could agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Compared to how fast time usually feels, I feel like I do, but I don't know if it's us just enjoying those. I mean, it's all perception though. It's all perception.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is perception. Yeah, it's just odd that it's the opposite perception.
And it's just like kind of popped in my head. Maybe like in those moments, time is still speeding up, but around us, like we're slowing it down for ourselves until we're out of that moment, and then we're like, we kind of feel that kind of like a more of a speed up because we're catching up with time. I don't know.
Like a time bubble.
Like a time bubble, yeah. And oddly enough, like I read books about stuff like that, like time bubbles, and people like you're in that moment, you know, in that bubble, you stay the same, but when you're out of it, it's kind of a rush of and that can be like a lot of like the feelings when people are like drained or like dizzy and stuff like that. That can be like a side effect of something like that. And that's just a new theory I'm just throwing out there. It came in my head. So
that's interesting.
Because I can't say I do enjoy those moments a little bit longer. It doesn't feel like time is speeding up, like those little happy moments where you kind of like in a good space. But like when you're in a shitty like mood, time is just going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But in that it's opposite of the way we used to perceive it.
Yeah.
It is. It's totally opposite. And that was another one of the first things I noticed about time. And I have this watch, and I ditched all the digital time. You know, I don't look at the digital.
I'm trying to get away from that. Because I'll have this digital. I want to get like a clock so I can just like look at it, kind of like my own like Inception kind of thing, and remind myself like this isn't real.
Yeah.
One Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Well, and so I got this, and it's a wind-up watch. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like, you know, if you're messing with it every day, then you're putting your like energy field into it. And you know, I feel like some days when I'm watching it, I can do the 1,000 to 1,000.
I just had a thought. If you do that and put your energy into like the watch, would it slow down when you slow down in your little bubble? That
maybe.
Experiment. Yeah, that can be an experiment you can try out. If that is, if you do put your energy in it, it's part of you. It's within your little bubble. And then also, if people that you're around and you're having this happy moment with others, are they in your bubble too? And then you can kind of watch them. Are they having the same side effects when you're out of it? Like, are they having they're a little dizzy, they're a little more irritable, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that can be like a little experiment.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. And then, you know, because when you're interacting with other people, and even like right now, all of us, we're talking in everybody in the chat, you know, all of our little bubbles, you know, would be kind of overlapping. Yeah. And if you're in the same emotion,
kind of like a lot of us experiencing the same things around the same time, because we're like in the same type of bubble, like around ourselves.
Yeah,
and then, like, we're out of it. We're like, shit, I had a fucking horrible day or whatever, you know? And it's like, yeah, me too. And it's like, yeah, because we're catching up with time. Like in those moments, we're like, I mean, that is a theory. It's cool.
Oh, we're having horrible days every day. That's a thought. That's a thought. Yeah, that's something for everybody to kind of just, yeah. I will definitely be paying attention to what's going on with the people that I interact with the most, for sure.
I think that's it. Like, I'm gonna get me a watch, and I think I'm gonna try it out, test it out, test the theory. But would you have to put your energy into the watch first, or is it already in your bubble if you have it on yourself?
I don't know. You know, it's just, I just feel like it's just messing with it, interacting with it, and you know, like wearing it, or even just keeping it near you. You know, I don't know. I just like playing with it. It's a pretty nice watch. And the reason why I even keep it with me is because, you know, I worked at that church, and there was the maintenance guy that worked there, and he's a real nice guy, real nice. He gave me a lot of good advice. And like the third day that I worked there, he brought me this watch. And he just said, well, he'd had it in the store for a while, and he said, it's a real nice one. It works really good, but nobody's wanting it, you know? So he gave it to me, and he said, even though you're a girl, you could wear a man's watch. But that was right before I became affected, like a month before. So
interesting.
Yeah. So it just seemed like a sync, or almost like some, I don't know.
Have the syncs always been there, or did they come with the effect? I just thought about that. Well, I've thought about that before, but have the syncs always been there and I just haven't noticed, or did they come with the effect? What do you think?
I think the syncs were there. I think they were, but maybe we didn't notice them as much. But I don't know. It's almost like, you know, we're talking about the time faster and the world being smaller. Then it's almost like there's more syncs too. Like everything's shrunk down and gotten more intense. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever seen the movie The Number 23? I think it's with, I want to say Jim Carrey, but I'm not sure.
I don't think I have.
It's about a guy, and he it's a really good movie. I think it's with Jim Carrey. I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen it, but he finds this book in his house, and it's about a guy, and he starts to read the book, and then he starts seeing a lot of like similarities within his life, and like this guy's obsessed with the number 23. 23, everyone kind of drives him crazy. And it turns out towards the end of the movie, well, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but he never noticed 23 until he started reading the book about 23, and then starts to see the similarities in his life, and he starts to see 23 everywhere, and he turns into like a crazy person. He's just like, 23, my birthday, and he gets adding up the numbers like, that's 23, this is 23, we got married this day, that's 23, and it's like everything added up to 23. But in that like sense, 23 was always there because that was always his birthday and always the day he got married. So maybe he just, I don't know.
I have a sync that's gone on all my life. Is every address that I've ever lived with, the number had a 1, a 6, and a 3 in it, in some combination. It might be 2 of them or whatever, but it's always a 1, a 6, and a 3. So it just seems odd to me, and like you know, every time I have moved, it's like I just know somehow that the next address is going to be like that. So that's like a sync for me.
Do you think that you manifest that maybe?
I don't know. Maybe it could be. It could be. I don't know. It's just like a weird coincidence is what I always thought it was.
No, well, there's no such thing as coincidence. So
yeah. I really do believe that now. But as far as like looking at the clock at 1111 and things like that, I never ever did that before.
Yeah, I never did that either. I never even thought to do that, you know. I don't know, I kind of like go between the thought that the syncs did come with the effect in I mean, I'm sure there was some type of, I won't say coincidences, but some type of maybe messages within like numbers before in our old reality. But I think a lot of the syncs, they come with the effect to kind of if we are in a different reality, it could be a reality where syncs kind of guide us more than they did before. Like I think in this reality, and this is all just coming to me right now, but in this reality there's a more spiritual presence. Not to say it wasn't one in the old reality, but we can feel it more than, I know I can feel it more than I did in old reality. So the syncs, I mean, we're limited in our human forms and how we perceive like the spiritual world is like limited. So maybe that's a form of like a spiritual kind of like message. Well, it is in a way a spiritual message. So we see the syncs more because in this reality we're more either we're more spiritually aware, or in this reality there's a more like spiritual presence that we can see. So that's something to think about as well.
It does seem to me like there's more of a spiritual presence on both sides. You know, because it
has to be, it's duality. It has to be there, you know. If we're going to get more of a good spiritual presence, we're going to get more of a bad spiritual presence. So
right. And yeah, it is. I mean, it is, everything's more intense here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There were different things that I would think were syncs with the music earlier on in my life and before I was affected. But I mean, before I became majorly affected, because I did shift a few times when I was a kid and then in my 20s. But it was never this radical, you know. So it was easier. It would just be like a few changes, and it was easy to pass it off as like, you know, I'm confused or something, you know.
Do you think the Mandela effects have stopped in the recent months? That's a question from Digital. Well, no, they haven't stopped. But the thing is, when the Mandela effect first happened, it was more focused on changes within like logos, movies, songs, stuff like that. There's a lot of changes going on. Think about in humans, in like our anatomy and stuff like that. Those are effects as well. So no, those have definitely not changed. The time movement, that's an effect in itself, you know. So we have to move away from so much on like logos and animals and like statues and all this. I mean, those are always going to change. Those are going to change back. Those are going to change again. I mean, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, you know? So I think I think the changes are well, for those who can see it, the changes are happening in a different way. I see changes in people all the time, you know, in behavior stuff, and you know, in social groups, in my family, and even in myself, you know, a different way of looking at stuff. I feel a little bit more enlightened some days than others, you know. So those are effects in themselves and shifts, you know, within yourself. I think you can just, you know.
I've had some strange days. Like I've had a couple of days where the really long numbers kept catching my attention, and they didn't mean anything or have any doubles or anything. But they kept catching my attention, and I would have a really intense feeling like they did mean something. So then I got like looking at gematria, and I've never been into gematria. But I got some calculators, and it would be like the things would freeze up no matter which website I was trying to use. And so I got on my phone, and the same thing kept happening. So I get, you know, so that I don't know that that's technically a Mandela effect, but you just have these strange, kind of strange things going on in your consciousness that are new.
That are new, yeah. And who knows, it could be we're merging with our other selves or like whatever it could be, but I don't know. I can't really tell you exactly where it comes from, but I know within myself, like ideas just pop in my head, you know, especially if I'm in like a more of a receiving kind of like energy.
Right.
Ideas are just popping in my head, different things to look at. I see things differently. I'm noticing like stuff, especially like in people, like even in the chats and then just even in life, I feel like I'm seeing more, like, I don't know, stuff that's what they want to hide, or I feel like I'm seeing more than I ever have. You know, I've always been observant, but I feel like I'm seeing shit. Like, I'm just like, how is no one noticing this? You know, I'm just crazy? Maybe it's just me, but I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing shit like no one is noticing.
Yeah.
So that's a change in itself. Like, I've never seen as much as I see now. And it's like when people are talking, they're saying one thing, but I'm hearing a totally different thing. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But like they're saying one thing, but I'm hearing a different intent in like what they're saying, like if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, because your instincts are gonna start. You know, they always did tell you things that you didn't quite bring up into your conscious. They're just kind of absorbed by you into your subconscious.
Yeah. Yes.
And so it almost seems like we're having better access to our subconscious. Does that make sense?
It does. And I've been talking about this in my other streams with me being asleep and awake, and I might be been able to, like, sometimes I can't tell if I'm asleep or awake. And like the time I freaking like put you on timeout in my like sleep. Like sometimes I can't tell if I'm asleep or I'm awake, and I'm like, I don't know if it's like my subconscious doing stuff or if it's me. Like it's just kind of odd. And then I know, like when I did my video on like memories and like perception and why some don't perceive stuff, I know pretty much a lot. I don't know if everything, there's different theories, but I would say everything gets perceived by our subconscious, and then only what we see, what we're aware of is limited. But I mean, the reason we're seeing the changes is because we're more aware. Everyone in the whole world has the ability, all the unaffected have the ability to see the changes. They're just not aware of them. So why are we aware and they're not aware? Maybe we are for some reason accessing our subconscious more than they are. What woke that up and what changed that? I don't know. You know?
Yeah, and I've been tossing around the idea that they have really chosen not to see the change. You know,
that's a fact.
But then on the other hand, another idea I had was that when you see the change, maybe and they right away they agree with you. You know, maybe we're influencing them to agree with you. You know, I mean, it could be we're putting our memory into them right at first, and then it kind of dissolves, and they realize, no, that's not right. You know, so it could be either way. It is confusing.
Yeah, it could be either way.
And you just can't get into their head and really figure out what they are thinking. You know, I notice people that used to look you in the eye all the time, now they won't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just things like that. It is very strange.
Yeah, it is. So
somebody said something that I wanted to say. Oh, Jonor, about the Jesus on the cross. Yeah, that is making me really angry too. That I can't stand to see that every time that's changed. You know.
Reading the chat. So yeah,
Pastor.
I don't know what else to talk about.
Did you try to wake anybody up?
No, I don't. And just because I'm antisocial to begin with, and I was already isolated, and I really don't. I don't feel like a need. I don't feel like an eagerness to wake people up.
Right.
And I don't really. I don't know. It's just not in me. I think. I think definitely everyone has their own. Everyone has a soul group, and everyone has their own purpose in the bigger picture here. So I think there are people. Some people do feel more, and they're more like, because you have to be very sensitive to the person. Know when they're like they need you to back off. Know when like when you're trying to wake somebody up, and I don't have that. I'm just like, this is a change. Like you don't see it. Like I'm not gonna like I don't know. I'll be a little sensitive, but like wake up or don't. Subscribe or don't. Like so. It's not in me, but I know some people can cater more to like sensitive people. So great. I think they're more suited for that. So I haven't personally tried. I put questions out there and they do that whole like, yeah, they remember, but then wait, maybe not. So I just get frustrated. It's just, a little frustrating to try to wake someone up who doesn't like want to be woken up.
And I did that. That's what I've done, is just throw those little questions out there. And part of that's because when I was a kid and I noticed a change, like I freaked out and there would be like a whole family argument, and it would be just like, after a few of those times, and I think it probably only happened like 5 times maybe, before I was a teenager. And then, so it was like I kind of learned my lesson back then. And so,
well, maybe like how there's a theory that there's different waves coming in. Like we're probably gonna get another wave of like new affected. And good luck getting like for the new affected. Good luck getting into any of these groups, because Jesus Christ, it's like, what is the Mandela effect? Blocked. Is the Mandela effect real? Blocked. And like I would block you too. So good luck. Maybe they need like I think. I did like suggest we need to have like a channel for newbies, maybe, where they can like go, and kind of like that's just for newbies, give them a chance, until they're ready. Like, because a lot of them are going to be trolls, and like a lot of them they flip flop back and forth. Like one day they're interested in it, and the next day like you guys are all crazy. So
no one
has time for that.
And it makes you wonder, like it just the idea just it just overtook, because it's hard to take. It's hard to take. So sometimes I think when people do that, it's like denial. They've gone into denial. Is that like the first stage of mourning or whatever?
Well, no, and I didn't notice that. I don't know if I ever referenced that in one of my videos, but it is. I noticed it's a stage. It's different stages, and it kind of similar to the stages of grief. It really is like, because I know I kind of went. Well, I don't know if I went through that, but no, I never went through that. Even with conspiracies, I'm just like, I've always thought like the government's lying to us. Like, don't believe these people. I don't trust anyone. So I've never had that like, oh, they're not lying. Maybe they are. And then like withdraw and then like crying about it. Like, why are they lying to me? No, I never went through that. But I know for some people, everyone's different. So for some people, they do go through that. So, I mean, that's why we definitely have to have sensitive people, really like empaths to kind of help transition people in. But yeah,
that you may be right about that. You may be right about that. I don't know. And when I first shifted, and what I count is is last summer when I started seeing the sky and the whole earth like different. But then the other things changed, just recently for me. But one of those first things was the maps, right? And I was watching InfoWars every day, and he's got that big freaking map right, behind him. And one day it just looked different, and I had heard of the Mandela effect, and I thought, well, isn't that a thing? This thing, So I looked it up, and it was pretty scary. I just watched a couple of the geography ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it just scared me. And so I just put it down for that day and kind of was just thinking about it, and dug out some of my old atlases that night. And yeah, they were different. And so then the next day I thought, no, I must have been imagining it, you know. And so I got out my old atlases again and I looked at them, and it was back to the old Earth. So, but that was just for that one day. The next day it was different again. South America was moved again, and it was moved on Alex Jones again.
Maybe interesting.
Yeah, it was almost like I kind of did a little flip to Orion, and then just a little flip back, and then just a little flip.
It could have been like, if you think of this like more of like a program, it could have been like not it glitching, but you were glitching in and out of awareness.
Yeah. And and that kind of goes back to the time thing, because I see some people, didn't happen to me, but I see some of us saying that they lived like the same day twice and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they skipped a day.
Mm-hmm.
Which would freak me out really bad. That would freak me out. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I don't want to skip a day, but maybe that's what happened with the map thing. I don't know. It was strange.
I know like there's been times well, I don't know if it's just me confusing what the day is, because time is doing that like speed up, like whatever, maybe the bubble thing. So like I'm just like, no, today's Tuesday. Wait, no, today's Monday. Like what the hell? And then like the more I think about it, I kind of can piece it together. But it does get a little blurry. Like everything gets a little blurry.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been mentioning that, so I don't know.
I don't, on 9/11, and the reason why they, did such a big thing is because the trauma affects everybody, and you don't really, most people don't see what's actually happening, when they're being traumatized.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like when I do think we were all a little bit traumatized, or to some extent, some of us
have to be, and then just even outside of like even taking away like conspiracies and taking away this whole thing, just like being a human in this system, you're traumatized, man. Like how everything's set up and like what they do, what they show us, like how we're treated, just in general, and like the work system, the like court system, schooling, all of that, like that shit traumatizes you like in itself,
Yeah.
So, and then add on the conspiracies, add on like the bullshit they do, then add on the effect. Like Jesus Christ, it's like, that's what I'm saying. Anyone who's affected, and then even getting up every day and freaking brushing your teeth and fucking even just watching the sky, like that's something in itself. To be able to even function to that extent is something in itself, because this is a lot to fucking handle.
Yeah, going outside is kind of hard sometimes. Yeah, just going outside, because you don't know for sure what you're gonna see.
I remember, I used to sit in my house so much, like when you open the door and the light hits you, when the light hits you, it's like I feel like one of those vampires, like the light, like it's so bright. Like I haven't been outside in like so long. I'm just like, the light is so bright.
Yeah.
You like you go outside like some shades and like a coat and shit. It's like it's burning my skin.
Yes,
it is burning your skin. It's like the thing. Maybe I'm just a vampire. I don't know.
Yeah, I got pale that first summer because I didn't go out like it. I just couldn't. I can't even explain it now, but at first I just couldn't go out. I went to work and everything, but I couldn't like go out and work in my yard and be outside like I always loved to do.
Yeah.
So this year I'm pretty sure, I like being outside again. So but I don't know. Just
I like outside now too, like the breeze. I just feel like I feel more connection, like when the trees are like just blowing in the breeze. I feel like they're waving. I don't know, it's kind of hippie-ish, but I mean, I like it, and I like seeing the little birds and they're tweeting, and you look up and you kind of like, oh, the white sun, but kind of just the chemtrails, oh god, but then you kind of just black it out and just like enjoy like the little nature, that you can enjoy, because they're the animals are going through it too, in their own, like they're all fucked up, and how the plants and all of them, they have to deal with this shit too, so they're doing the best they can.
Oh, Digi's talking about CERN.
CERN has been recreating the Big Bang. What if we keep resetting, and therefore some of us remember the last reset. I don't believe in CERN, so
Me neither.
So I can't answer that. I don't think they're doing anything. I think they're just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're using all their money to build
I
their
think the
shelter.
Mandela effect is probably the best thing that ever happened to CERN, because now they can pretend they're actually doing something. This is just like a gold mine. Like the Mandela effect, great. Let's make a video dancing and I'll wear this shirt and I'll say Nelson Mandela. This is the best thing that ever fucking happened. Like
you could be right.
They jumped on that video really quick. Like, yeah, we're gonna own this shit. Like, yeah, we're doing like, yeah, Nelson Mandela. Like that was just so, because it was so in your face and so blatant. Come on, they did that like so you can think they're really the cause, but they're not. Come on, they're just collecting a paycheck. And CERN didn't even really exist for me. Like it didn't exist for me because I don't. If it was there, I don't know if I just didn't know about it. I feel like I would have, because I was into conspiracy so heavy. Yeah. But maybe I just didn't notice it because they weren't doing anything. They were just like whatever they were doing. So it wasn't anything that was like out there like that, you know, that they really were doing something. And then now all of a sudden there's hadron colliders everywhere. Like, come on, dude. So everyone gets to collect their. I mean, if I was like somewhat like wealthy, I would just like fucking get a factory and say I have a hadron collider so I can like run experiments, you know, and collect. You know, like what the.
And in reality, it's just a huge round tunnel.
Actually, you actually remember CERN on the old Earth. I don't remember CERN on the old Earth.
There were three. There were three on my Earth, but they were built like I think like 2008, 2009. There were two small ones that were at universities, and then they built the large one.
All I'm saying, digital. I don't remember CERN. I'm pretty sure they might have had a hadron collider trying to do experiments, but there wasn't 35,000 of them. I mean, they weren't doing things I didn't know about them. Yeah,
that was an effect for me. There was no way there was not that many. There was three. Because I had already looked into that, because it was a conspiracy thing. You know, on my Earth or my dimension or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there was a conspiracy about the three CERNs. You know. But it didn't have anything to do with Mandela anything or anything like that. It was just, you know, why they shouldn't be doing this, what they're saying they're going to do.
Yeah.
And before I shifted, it was like they'd only run the large one like 2 or 3 times. And one of those times it had like broken. So, and then all of a sudden there were, 30,000 or whatever. And that was one of the first effects too, because I was, you know, conspiracy theory, and I just watched a YouTube video and they were saying there was 30,000. I was like, no, you know, no, because just like the week before there had only been 3. So, I mean, that, I guess what I'm saying here is that's why I think that they're fake.
Yeah, I think they're fake too, just like NASA, just like Elon Musk. And, you know, I think they're all fake. They're jumping on the bandwagon. Like this is a money thing for them. Just like conspiracies is a money thing for like people like Alex Jones and people who are just the top, like, we're gonna crack the government. It's all a money thing. They jump on it because that's what people need an answer. Like humans, they search for an answer, and when they feel like you're giving it to them, whether that be within religion, conspiracy, like someone who's cracking down on like WikiLeaks and all that stuff, whatever, you know, they feel like you're giving them some type of answer, some type of security because they need that, they jump on it, you know, and that's what I'm saying. It's important to understand and like study into the human brain, because you'll know how you're being manipulated, because you need that security. So now these people come out of nowhere and they're like, I know, I have the answers, you know, I have the answers, and this is what's going on. And you feel like, oh, good, I don't have to think anymore, and I don't have to worry because he's going to tell me what to do, or she's going to tell me what to do, you know. And I mean, yeah. So I think they come out of there either doing this stuff and they're not really doing anything.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But like the AI though, the bots are real and all of that, but they don't actually think. You know, they're just a computer, and everything they do, it's like they work on like a big, huge, like you've seen those charts where you start here and take this path or that path or this path, you know, and that's what they do. But it's just based on a set number of factors. And the AI bots, you know, they're learning from us. So
yeah, And
So
I was
every
talking to
time,
someone about
yeah,
that
they just
with like,
pick up, like if one person inputs something, they just add that to their set of reaction.
yes. Oh my God. And I was talking to someone about that with Facebook in like the beginning of Facebook. You'll notice this in like, and no one fucking, I don't know if it's just me, but okay, like for example, when Scott did his live stream and he kind of got like angry about I don't know if I can remember with the whole Syria thing, you know, and Trump
Yeah.
and dropping the bombs, which is all just a fucking script. But he got
Yeah.
angry about it because regardless if it's a script or not, people are like actually getting hurt and people are dying and suffering in these countries, and it's for no reason, you know. So he was angry about that. And if you did not notice, there were like new channels that just like pop out of nowhere coming in the chat like, fuck Trump. Like, yeah, Trump is doing crazy stuff. Yeah, Trump is doing it's keywords. They hear the keywords, they come in there to kind of get you all riled up. And then where I first noticed that was in fucking Facebook. They're not real people. They just insert, and then there'll be somebody who just inserts just the most ignorant, retarded, like racist shit just to get people riled up and get on that person. They're not even real. And then you can see what their response is. It's not a real person. They're just like saying shit. Well, you're just stupid because you're black, or you're just stupid because you're a liberal, you know, like that, like stupid liberals, and then like get people all riled up, like you don't know anything about that, and then you're just a stupid Democrat, like that, and they just get you riled up. And if you did not notice in Scott's chat, if you can go back because they saved the chats now, you see like, and I haven't seen them before. They're like Mandela affected people. I haven't seen them since that day. They just popped in the chat. They kind of like edge on everything they said was about Trump and how Trump was stupid and how Trump was this and that. And Trump is doing all this and the government is lying to us and all this to edge that up and edge that anger to get people to keep talking about it, you know. But they're not real. They're not real people. They mimic. And I was talking, just a few. Ironically enough, just a few days ago, I was talking about that in Facebook. They just mimic, and I think they've been studying us for a while to get like our you know, like how we respond and what we would say. And even in Mandela Effect's like chat today, there are people that come in and they ask questions to see how you would respond to it. Like, so they would ask like I don't know, they'll ask a question to see get you to respond to it. And I'm just like, when people are asking questions like that, they can do their own research. Like asking an opinion, giving your opinion, and asking for someone's perspective on that is different. But just asking a question like, how do you think this is, and how do you think that is? It's like so they can get a response, so they will know better how to like infiltrate into other groups and respond back and seem, because they're, for whatever reason, they don't have the ability to do that. They can't like seem real. They have to just mimic. Because they're not real. They don't know how to think for themselves. You know.
Yeah, I don't. You know. And I take this from like what's going on around me and, you know, my life with the people around me. But I just feel like the unaffected, like after a while, they just can't, they don't like being around us.
Yeah, I say they one day they just like explode. They can't take it. And I compare it to like, okay, one night I was bored and I was trolling Alex Jones on like one of his live streams because no one was live, and there was only so long I could like just continue like to troll them, you know, like I was trolling them, I was just trolling whatever, but there was only so long I can stand there without saying you guys are fucking idiots, like what are you even talking about? There's a bigger picture going on. And I think they trolls like that are real people who are just trolling, and maybe they're bored, maybe they do it for a living, whatever, but it is only so long you can pretend to like be on board with someone before you're like, you guys are fucking idiots, you know, like there's only so long. And I was to that point where I'm just like, you guys, like, Alex Jones really, like I'm gonna buy his supplements and his like sleeping pills, like what the fuck are you guys even doing? Like he's selling like supplements. Alex Jones, like what the fuck? I'm gonna buy a t-shirt from Alex Jones. Like
the supplements are good.
I'm not gonna. Are you serious? I'm unsubbing everyone unsub from LongReach. I'm gonna buy like Alex Jones supplements. Like Jesus Christ.
Like the pure iodine.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say.
The supplements are actually good for you. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. What were we even talking about now? See, you totally threw me
off. AI, they mimic. All they do is mimic, and that's all they can do.
Yeah. One of the things that I notice is when you start like really trying to have a real conversation with them, you know, even if they're being hostile, you know, you could just say, you know, try to calm them down or whatever, and you're trying to be nice to them and stuff. Even that, you know, it's almost like they really feel awkward and they'll kind of like skitter off sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, there was someone in like just in the chat today that I was in. They said something weird, and I questioned them, and it just disappeared. Like they didn't answer the question. They were so active before, but they didn't answer the question. They just freaking disappeared, and they came in later like, "LOL, I love you guys. Like, who are you? I have never seen you before. Your channel has 0 subscribers. You just created it today. How do you love us? Like, Jesus Christ, go away!" Like, and everyone's just like, "Oh, I love you too." And I'm just like, "Was it?
No.
Was that you?" What if this is like, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. Oh god. One time, I'm like, I can't say it, but oh, that's funny.
That's salty. Fuck that guy. He loves us too much. It's suspiciously too much.
Suspiciously. That's one heart too many. Unsub from Salted.
I don't know. I don't worry about unaffected people too much just because of that, because it's like they don't want to be around us. We're crazy to them.
But I think they are going to become a problem in the future when there's more of us and they need to crack. We're not a problem as of yet, but when there's more of us and the changes will happen more, and like it's like shit that you can't freaking dispute. I mean, little shit like, oh, maybe that has been that way, but some shit like you can't dispute that. Which I feel like there's that now, but I think it's going to be even bigger stuff, and especially with the physical changes that are happening now. I mean, as these progress, I mean, what are you going to do? So I think they're going to become a problem because it's going to be like, that's human nature. If you look at history, you know your history. I mean, they're trying to change it the best they can, but they can't. We know our history. You know what they do to people who are different, pitchforks and fires, and they run you out of town, and because they're scared. You know, like, look at these people, they're different, and they, you know what I mean? They're scared. They're, you know, that's just how humans are. That's how humans respond. So I do think the unaffected in the future will become a problem.
They could. They really, really could.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to address that really, but you know, one thing is that from my point of view, we still have to approach them like they could be affected or could become affected in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way sometimes too, because there was a point in time where I wasn't, like, you were affected before I was, you know, before I even knew what the effect was or changes or whatever.
Before I was.
You said you're affected back when you were a teenager.
Oh yeah, I was, but I mean, like the major shifts, the logos and everything, I just came into that, you know. The Bible change was like when I made my first video. That's when the Bible change was. I think that was what, May?
I don't even know.
Yeah, but yeah, I did shift a few times when I was a kid, but it was smaller things like GIF to Jiffy, and the Star Wars thing, and there was like a certain like.
But I know as a kid, the scarecrow with the gun, I noticed that me and my cousin, and I brought it up to her not today, but yesterday, and she has no idea. She's like, the scarecrow has a gun? And I'm like, Jesus, do you not remember us as a kid? We were laughing so hard. Like, we just thought like they put the gun in there one night because I know during Thanksgiving, they would show reruns. During Christmas, they would show reruns of the Christmas Story back to back all freaking day for like a week. And during Thanksgiving, they would show reruns of Wizard of Oz back to back all week, and that's what we would watch. And one day he just had a gun, randomly had a gun. And he was like waving around at the monkeys after she said, fly, my pretties. And they went after them, and he was waving the gun around, and we were laughing so hard, like, where did this guy get a gun? And it was so funny. She has no memory of that. But I know he didn't have a gun before, and then one day he had a gun. And then I know what a lot was one word. And I know as a kid, it frustrated me so much that then one day it just was like 2 words. But I know, like, I used to get marks on my essays because I'm like, I'm not going to spell it. I was so stubborn. So I'm not going to spell it as 2 words. A lot is one word. And on my essay, she would always mark that. She's like, no, you have to separate. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going to separate. So so those were 2 shifts I know as a kid that I remember. But I don't know if it just was always, I mean, I don't know. You know, who knows?
I kind of think that I think most of us were probably shifting a little bit since we were kids, just a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. Because like Jeff changed for me, and that's so weird because it changed for me when I was 7, and it just stayed that way forever. So, but then
same with the lot. Yeah, same with the lot and the scarecrow with the gun. That once that shift happened and one day he just had a gun, he always had a gun. And since my teacher was like, you have to put a lot together, it's always been that way. So, but for people, but this is the same thing with Hillary, like Hillary with the 1L, Hillary with 2Ls. For some people, it's always been 2Ls. But for me, it was 1L at one point. Then it's like, so everyone's different, but I think it's not that it might not, well, just a theory, because it can be like we're shifting back and forth, but also it just might be sometimes whatever's connecting us to our subconscious, we're out of it, we're in it, we're out of it, we're in it. Maybe it's like a little fluctuation thing there. Some people are in it all the time more than others. Some people are out of it, so who knows? I think the people that are more connected, they see the changes more easily and they see new changes more easily. And then once they bring it to our attention, like we can see it more. I don't know. But everyone's different because there's some changes. I see changes differently than other people, So, and what I focus on more is not what someone else focuses on, because I don't really focus on like the logos and the movies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I focus more on people and like nature and more of the science side to it, I think.
Right. And I don't think that I don't like to look at the logos because I know that they do this like sigil magic on them, and I started to think that the changes that all the Mandela affected people are always looking at, maybe it's like an extra little sigil that they put in there just for us. So that's why because they do like they'll put like an intent into the logos. So, and it used to be things like buy this, but God knows what they're, it's just, I don't like to look at them, and I don't think they're very important to me. They're just
that's like the question I had for someone last night. It's like, is there, if there's everything's mathematics, everything's numbers, okay, if there's like a equation to it all, if it all like there's you're gonna put an equation to like every effect, and you can predict future effects based on this equation, then okay, the little logo changes, the movie changes, that matters then. But if there's not, and they're just like changing randomly, there's no science to it, they're just changing, then I mean, it's just there to wake us up. That's what woke us, mostly all of us, up. Something in your life changed, and you look more into it, and then you saw, hey, look, this world is spiritual, and we're connecting, we're vibrating, and we're doing this and that, whatever it may be. So I don't think that the changes are to be focused on. They're just like they're a side effect of all of this, maybe just like a side effect, maybe like the Mandela side effect.
I take them as sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I take them as like as a warning, just a warning to people that something is terribly wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, that's the way I take it. So if God or however you want to think of it, or you shifted to another dimension, or you went to a new earth, like I feel like I did, it's still
it's new for us. It's new for us because we've never seen the world in this way. I mean, we could have just shifted to a whole new world, but we could just also just be more aware. Like when you're more aware of stuff, you're seeing stuff like you've never seen it before. To me, it feels like people have changed, but maybe I'm just noticing something I've never noticed before, or maybe understanding it more. It changes it as well, like with the whole the bonobo monkey.
Have you looked at like old family pictures and seen like any changes? Because I have.
I don't have any like pictures of. I have a couple pictures of like me as a kid, like maybe one or two. But other than that, I don't have any pictures.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I looked at a few, and then it's like every time I look at them, there's something that's different, and it's usually somebody's face looks different. So I don't know if that's perception or what that is. If their face is actually different, but our skulls are different, so I guess that would make sense.
Digital says CERN is fake, yet we've moved to another planet. Explain.
I can't.
I don't think. Okay. Let's say it's like, let's say this. Let's say one day we wake up and the ocean is green, or the ocean is yellow. The whole ocean is yellow. I'm wealthy, so I create like this company, and I'm like, I'm the one causing it, you know, like something like that. You know, it's not necessarily I'm not causing it, but I'm taking ownership of it so that I can get money. Like, you know what I mean? The ocean is yellow. I'm starting this whole company that's going to figure it out, or something like that. Or we're the ones that can potentially be causing it, and this is the proof. So give us more money, and we're doing. You know what I mean? It's just they're taking ownership of something that they have no. It's like they were just sitting around, twiddling their fingers with this hadron collider that's not doing shit. The Mandela effect happened. They're like, thank God. You know, now they can fucking, you know, like it's like that. Whatever.
Yeah. That's what I think too. I mean, it just seems like too complicated of a thing to really be trying to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. And a lot of it is that, you know, something that technical, it would really be only a small number of people that would even be able to understand it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, what's going on?
Look at those people.
Humans are not causing, like, what's going on? The humans didn't cause all this. Like, this is something. Yeah, this is a battle. This is something.
The world.
This is something like. There's something more going on. There's like just the spiritualness of it and the spiritual awakening. Humans didn't do this, but explain the Jude with the Mandela. Jesus digital, like he did that so that you could see, like, I don't know.
He was like, I haven't really messed with that digi.
Everybody unsubscribe from digital. Yeah, the show. He did it to take ownership. Like that's why it was so. If they were really doing it, he wouldn't have been so blatant in your face. Like that was basically saying we are the cause of the Mandela effect. He basically wrote like Mandela effect on his forehead, so they could be like, it's CERN. Oh my God, they're doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? So he didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what's funny about that is is the mandala. You know, you guys know about the what a mandala is?
Those are like little symbols.
Well, Buddhists use it, and I have looked for this myth on this place for a long time, and I haven't been able to find it. But you can find pictures of mandala, and Buddhists would make it's a big round like symbol of the universe, and Buddhists would make it with colored sand, and it's really detailed, and they would take a long time and meditate, and then you know, supposedly the myth on my earth was that they could then meditate on it when it was finished and all travel through time. So, and then when they were done traveling through time, then they would come back and they would all blow on it and blow all the sand away.
Interesting. I've never heard anything of that.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of a common thing that everybody seemed to know about Buddhist monks. But here it's that they levitate. Because I looked for, you know, things that they had legends about, and here it was like, so, and it's called a mandala, and I don't know if that's a Buddhist word or what that word is, but the similarity is kind of strange. I always thought.
I mean, you see, there's some type of connection there, so I don't think there's something there to it. And look, like that's something like if you think of it like this, that's something I've never heard of, but it's like a little piece you have. You know what I mean? And that's why these live streams are so good because you put it out there and it's just like, I've never heard of that. So we all get like these little pieces, you know?
Yeah. And look what we say, you know,
put them together. But yeah.
And we'll say things are Mandela. You know, we'll say it's Mandela or you're Mandela. It's just, I don't know. It just really strikes me. And like you did that one on etymology. You know, I don't know. And it just seemed like this Fiona Broom, like that was a fake. She just seems fake, and she named it. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, something to think about. Just every once in a while that comes into my head, and I'm like, what's up with that?
I don't know.
So do you think we might be traveling through time?
I don't think so. I don't think in the sense that we think like that we're thinking. I think as we become more aware, we'll start to understand more. Like right now, just like with this whole why time is slowing down when you're more in a happy state or trying to enjoy the moment. And why does it speed up? Like we're very aware of that now, and I never even thought of anything like that before. I was the Mandela effect or this awakening or whatever is going on. So I think as we become more aware, we'll start to notice more things. I don't think time, that in itself, just that, and time speeding up, and time is not real. You know, it's just so. I don't think, because it's hard to explain. Just like it's hard to imagine yourself out of time, but we are out of time. We're confining ourselves into this warped time where it's non-existent. And as we become more aware, we'll see that it's non-existent. We're in every moment and every time, you know, like, but it's like something we have to wake up to. And in that state, when we realize that, we'll be in a different kind of state of mind, one that I wouldn't even like. The self I was back in high school, I can never relate to the self I am now, you know, like if that makes sense. So when I'm in that state of mind, in a higher state, I wouldn't even be able. You were just getting higher states of mind. I don't know if that makes sense. We're ascending.
That does make sense.
So and even becoming first affected, I was never the spiritually aware, or even thought of time like this, or even experienced it, feeling the difference, and it's speeding up and it's slowing down. And what day is it? Everything's a blur. You know, like. I didn't experience it like that when I first became affected. So that self, when I first became affected, who just like searched on logos and was on these different channels that popped out of nowhere, wouldn't be able to relate to the self I am now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of mind-boggling to think if, you know, we would start to not experience time, you know, or even experience like all of the different time like aspects or dimensional aspects of ourselves, you know, all at the same time, or if that even makes sense. It's
hard to wrap your mind around, you know.
Yeah. Well, did you have any more smart ass questions?
Do you have any more questions, Digital, or did he leave? I think we scared him away.
Or did he leave? Did anybody else have any? No.
Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
Paul says, "Where is Rachel?"
Not here. I don't know.
Or we're seeing deeper. I just know. I need to check.
I don't know that either. I don't know.
Digital. Let me see. What is
keep moving forward.
Now Digital's being a smartass. What is the meaning of life?
It's me.
Ask me in 1 million years. I'll tell you.
I don't know. Maybe we're getting closer, though. Maybe we're getting closer to getting those answers.
Yeah.
We're probably still like way far away from that, but
I think life is just basically an experience. It's all an experience. We're probably in a game show called The Experience, and I don't know. It's all an experience, and we have to just ride the wave. That's all we can do because we're limited. It's nothing else. It's nothing else we can possibly do. No one has the answers. No one can even imagine the answers. It's nothing that even can pop in our heads. Like, think about yourself in high school. Like you would never be able to imagine time isn't real and all of this stuff, you know? So it's something you can't even imagine until you ascend. Like we see ourselves, like you can measure how much you're ascending, you know, like if that makes sense.
It's more like a spiritual, it's more like an evolution instead of
in itself. Like, and I know evolution has such a negative connotation to it, but it is an evolution. Evolution.
It's a evolution revelation. Evolution revelation.
Joner says, "Is life like a box of chocolates?" It's not anymore, but it was. I like the ones that had the little coconut in it, but they don't have those anymore.
Yeah. I like the cherry ones.
Now it's just a box of bitter chocolate. Bitter.
There's one caramel, but it looks just the same as all the other ones.
One caramel, and you get your hopes up. You're like, hey, it's a caramel one, but when you eat it, it's as bitter as the others.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
His questions are too deep for us.
Yeah. I'm not smart enough for this. You like me, you really, really like me.
You really, really like me.
Okay. Sally feels.
You know, and it's even worse now. Like that was a bad speech before, and now it's even worse. That was that speech was embarrassing. That you like me, you really, really like me.
She fumbled over a lot of stuff, and she was just like, yeah, she was so, I don't know. I didn't watch it live or anything, but I remember, you like me, you really, really like me.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So I think we've been streaming for about an hour. You want to
Yeah.
end it?
Good deal. Yeah. Yeah, that was good talk.
Anyone here having dreams besides me and Rationally? Do you want to talk about dreams really quick? My computer's gonna die, so I have to make it probably like another 15 minutes, guys, or so.
Okay.
I'm at 17%. I decided to go, like, my family's gone for like the weekend, so I'm in the kitchen instead of being in my room. So I don't have a charger out here. I can find one if we really need to, but yeah. So dreams. I talked about dreams in my last stream. I'm having the sorting dream where I'm sorting. Well, I haven't sorted yet in the dream, but someone's wanting me to sort, and there's a group wanting me to sort, and I'm not wanting to sort. I'm having those dreams, and then I'm having dreams talking to all of you guys. Jules, I've talked to you in a dream. I've talked to Sharky in a dream. I've talked to Des in a dream. Colleen in a dream. So I'm having those dreams where in those dreams I really can't tell if I'm awake or not. Like it's really odd and it's hard to explain. And then I've had
and you timed me out of Robert Wood's chat in your sleep one day.
Yeah, I did, and I don't know. And I'm telling you, like, it's weird because it's a process to that. Like, you can't just accidentally. I know I was listening to him. Sometimes I'm like listening and I fall asleep, and I wake up. Like, it's really funny. But I fall asleep like listening to him, and like I.
Well, and then
like,
you
accidentally
did some thing too.
Yeah.
To somebody else. I can't remember what it was. There was another thing, like you typed something weird in your. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, like I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'm having those type of dreams where I'm like talking to you guys, but not really talking to you guys, and sometimes I really am. And I've had times in my life where I've had conversations with people, long conversations, and I don't remember them. And I only know so because I looked at my call. Like, I'm like, I had a 30-minute conversation last night, and I called the person, like, yeah, we talked about. I'm like, what did we talk about? I have no memory of it. Like, it's odd.
Huh.
So yeah.
I'm not really remembering a lot of what I dream, but it feels like there's just a lot of activity.
There is.
It just feels very busy. Like I feel rested when I wake up. But I also feel like I was really busy at the same time, like maybe mentally.
Well, yeah, that's why when we wake up, we feel like we don't feel rested at all. It's not. I mean, I wish if one day I can get back. I don't think I can ever say I wish things were back to normal because things were never normal. But one thing, there's my computer, 14%. One thing I wish I can get back is the sleep. Like I know back in the day, I used to sleep in it. I felt rested, sleeping all day. I felt rested. When I woke up, I'm like, I got a good rest, But now it's just like I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. And it's just like I'm sleeping though.
I'm not having that, but I'm having like losing energy halfway through the day.
Oh yeah, I have that too. Like, you literally pass out. Like I've had those times where I literally, like, you would think I was drunk or something. Like I was drugged because I literally like I can't do this anymore, and I just like pass out. Yeah, like, and luckily it's hard to function that way. Like especially when you have to work and stuff, and it's hard.
It is. It is hard.
And I wonder why we feel more energized at night. I think there's something to that. Why during the day our energy is like so low, and at night we kind of wake up, Yeah. And a lot of us like we're on that. Maybe there's something with the time, maybe time sped up so much. Now we're in a time where it's actually daytime right now, even though the sun's not out, There can be something like that. And that's why we hear the birds at night, because it's actually daytime. And that's why a lot of us are more awake at night, because we have an internal clock that's like not in sync with this world.
Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm still sleeping like the same hours that I always did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at night. I'm sleeping at night.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm sleeping extra, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I have even like I like had a normal night's sleep, and then I would feel like I needed to take a nap. This was one day, and I slept 4 hours, and I was really late going to pick up my kid from school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I never ever expected that I would nap for that long after having, you know, full night's sleep. And I feel really bad because you guys always say you're not sleeping, but I'm sleeping okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm not eating very well. You know, that's kind of my thing.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's and you just have to honestly. We don't know what well is anymore for these bodies. Like you know what I
Yeah,
mean. So you have to just go with like I know Robert was talking about that. He's craving more vegetables, and he never craved vegetables like that before.
yeah,
As much as he does now, and you just have to go along with what your body is telling you that it needs. And I don't
yeah,
think we're all the same. Like I know I need more water. A lot of people need more water, but maybe someone else might not feel that way. I think everyone's body is shifting differently and to an extent, like we're all kind of shifting the same, but differently to an extent of what you need personally. So just whatever your body's telling you, like right now I'm craving a lot of like I'm making a lot of egg sandwiches and I'm drinking a
oh,
lot of
I love
water.
those.
Yeah, so that's just what
Yeah,
I'm having a taste for, egg sandwiches and water.
yeah,
That's just what I've been eating.
yeah.
And then it
I've
might
eaten a lot
change.
of meat lately.
Yeah, and
Just
before I was just eating like broccoli stir fry with some like a veggie
yeah,
patty, and that was like fucking good. So whatever
yeah.
your body is telling
There
you
was
it needs, you know.
there was one day when I ate like half a bag of carrots. And the weird thing was is I didn't peel them because I wanted to eat the skin, you know.
Yeah, for whatever
And that was
reason.
really strange to me. But I thought, you know, those at the time those carrots were the most, you know, delicious thing that with the skin on.
I freaking love broccoli, even though I know it's I guess technically not real, but I broccoli's like my favorite. I always have like 3 bags of broccoli, and I just like do like a little stir fry with some broccoli, and it's just like delicious. But I know lately it's just been, like egg sandwiches, like that's it. So
Yeah, yeah. And grains. I'm eating a lot of grains. And I start like I would buy salad topper, always buy like the little seeds and things to put on your salad.
mhm.
And I started just eating those, you know,
Oh wow,
and I eat just like a whole bag of salad topper, you know, this all the little seeds.
a whole bag of salad topper, just like silence. Yeah, yeah, like oh my.
It's just funny what you crave, you know.
I gotta close it down because my computer's about to die. But it's been a great live stream,
Yeah,
guys,
that was
and
good talk.
yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we'll do it again eventually.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
had fun.
yeah.
I
Okay,
had fun.
guys.
All right.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, stop, Rock.